Alright, so something incredible just came in the mail today. And in case people are wondering, for those who have noticed at least, as to why the camera is so zoomed in on my iPad, there's actually a very good reason for that. It's one of the entries in the world's smallest series. And that would be, also pardon me, that's just the chair, which is incredibly squeaky. That would be the world's smallest Simon. It's so adorable, and it looks just awesome and retro, and yes, this was actually, from what I can tell, it was kind of announced quietly, because I didn't see any advertisements up until its release. Like, I didn't see anything from Super Impulse on Twitter X. Can we just call it Twitter X, by the way? It doesn't just make more sense, but it sounds more epic in my opinion. But back on topic. Yeah, I don't recall hearing anything else about it up until recently. Heck, on the Amazon, which is actually where I got mine, I haven't even seen any reviews as of this point in time. So, hopefully that's where I can come in and to, oh god, it's really zoomed in, and to more or less remedy the quote-unquote issue. So, for those of you who are familiar with the classic Simon, not the original, the 2016/2020 quote-unquote revision of Simon, not to be confused with Simon from 2013, which we commonly refer to as Simon Touch or Touch Simon, depending. It looks very similar to the 2016/2020 iteration of Simon, and that's because... yes, it is based off of that iteration. And by the way, yes, that is a functioning power/volume/high score button. It's not just a decoration. It's actually a little bit more noticeable when I bring it closer to the camera. Anyway. But, yeah. Gonna do a little bit of gameplay before I go over my first impressions. Hopefully that makes sense. That was on purpose. Wait for it to power off before I give my first impressions on the whole thing. There we go. So anyway, yeah, first impressions. In terms of the overall design, it's really faithful to the quote, and I say quote unquote original, and remember, because of the reason I explained earlier, it's based off of the remake of Simon. It is very faithful. Although, one thing that me and my friends on Discord discussed that we kind of took issues with, which, you know, it does make sense, but it's worth noting, is the buttons. Like, they seem kind of too thin, but at the same time, and I told one of my friends this, it kind of made sense because, like, sure, they could have, like, shrunk the center a little bit more, but I think then they wouldn't be able to fit the power volume high score button. And yes, they could cancel out the speaker up here and just have one down there, which, by the way, yes, there is one down there, which is interesting that there's two speakers, I guess because of how small it is, they wanted to make it as loud as possible. But no, like, that's just more or less an observation, not even a complaint or a nitpick or whatever. It's just something that we noticed when it was first mentioned, when I mentioned to the group. But yeah, it's very responsive. It is a very responsive game. And it's very high quality. Like, it's made of very high quality plastic. Super Impulse is really good with stuff like that. Like, their products. A lot of people underestimate their stuff because, I mean, they're world's smallest, insert name of game, object, whatever here. And people are probably going to be under the impression that they're not going to be very high quality. But no. Like, as they say, big things come in small packages, and this is definitely no exception. I feel like this should be obvious, but just in case anyone is seeing this for the first time, LR44s, specifically 3 of them, are used to operate the game. And I'm gonna be honest, at least for a very long time, this is going to replace the Micro Series as my absolute favorite Simon game of all time. Like, I do still respect the original. It's upstairs in my room. It's on display on my shelf. But, like, at the same time, if that makes sense, like, still in general, no. This one right here is just... it's just so awesome, you know what I mean? Like, it's a really, really great addition to anyone's collection. And it makes a great stocking stuffer, considering how small and portable it is. Like, I can easily see that being a gift for a child's birthday or something like that. It's an incredible game, incredible gift. I'd highly recommend checking this out if you're a Simon buff, electronic gaming buff like I am, or again, if you're wanting to get something for your child for Christmas or their birthday. It's a really solid iteration of Simon, and it can easily be interpreted as a very solid introductory version of Simon as well.